What's up everyone, Arctic here, and today I'm bringing you guys my first bit of content for the Razer Academy. The Academy is essentially the go-to destination for you guys to learn about competitive gaming or esports. There's going to be a lot of different personalities that are going to give you tips on anything from guides and in-game tactics to what I'm going to be doing, which is going to be helping your mental game, things that don't necessarily translate to in-game performance, but really help you along the way in understanding competitive gaming. Today I'm going to be discussing how to build a team, essentially. And I get this question quite frequently on, where to find players or how to build a team or where I started. So my team was created in 2008. I'd actually been competing about 3 years before that. So 2005, I created a team with another guy called VBI. And from there, we built up a team of about 25 members. And then in 2008, I decided to part ways with them, and then I created my team, which you guys are familiar with now, Amazin'. So I'm the team captain and founder of Amazin'. So I created that in 2008 with several other people from that previous team, and we had a lot of success in competitive gaming. So some of the things that I kind of look for, and I think that a lot of people should look for when they're creating a team, the biggest one is finding people with the positive attitude and they have very good behavioral habits. Now, it might be kind of hard to figure out how you can weed those types of people out, specifically online. So some of the things that I look for, let's say you get a group of buddies with you, you say, hey, you're thinking about joining the team, you get them in game, and then you notice some things that might kind of throw you off. Some of those examples could be, they kind of get loud or start screaming or upset all the time about, maybe deaths or their performance. Perhaps they blame other teammates or your team that, your players that you're playing with. They kind of blame them whenever they die or they're not having a lot of success. Or they do things where they stat count. Stat counting is essentially saying, hey, I got this number of deaths. You only got this number of kills, or et cetera, et cetera. I got this number of assists. Those things are kind of detrimental to your growth as a team. So you guys, you want to look out for players that have a positive attitude, ones that are, instead of stat counting, they look at the stats maybe afterwards and say, hey, on this map, we got X number of kills. On this map, we got X number of kills. And it seemed like we were dying a lot in this position. So you really have to listen to how they react. You definitely do not want to pick up players that blame teammates. That's one of the worst things that you can possibly have happen. If you get a team together and you have one guy that gets, maybe he thinks he's a superstar, he gets really, really upset, and then he starts blaming teammates. That's very, very detrimental to the growth of your team. Now, if you're planning on going to MLG events, you want to make sure your players can travel to LAN. Now, if you're not sponsored, it's always a little bit more difficult. One of the things that you want to be very upfront, that's one of the first things you want to do, is be very upfront about your financial situation with teammates, because you get a lot of players that bail at the very, very, very last second, and they know full in advance that they're not able to travel. And typically when you're going to an event, you need about $400 to $500 to travel to a gaming event. So you want to establish very clearly and very early in your development cycle or creating a team that you plan to travel to events. It's always good if they're under the age of 18 to establish some type of relationship with their parents. It's also very good to openly discuss your financial situation. So if you guys know in advance that you're not going to be able to make an event, make sure you let everyone know so that maybe you can plan and save up for the next event. Which brings me to my next point. It's very important to plan out the number of events you want to attend so you guys can ballpark how much money you're going to be spending. Those are all very important things to kind of establish with your team very early on. Another thing that happens over time, it's really hard to do straight out the bat when you're building a team, but you want to build chemistry as quickly as possible, just so you can get the flow of things going and you get down different players' reactions or emotions and how they're going to react to certain situations. So some of the things that I did to kind of build team chemistry outside of just playing is We went over strategies together, and I let everyone get involved with the strategy development process. We established practice schedules of when we were going to be online to play, which is very important. And we also reviewed strats together when we went over VOD. So I think that's also very important. Now, in that process, the last little bit is establishing roles. So establishing roles essentially happens over the course of time. You kind of get to see how players are, if they're strong players in terms of, support roles or slayer roles. So you kind of get to weed that out if they pick up power weapons and they're good with power weapons. So, in Gears of War, you kind of have support, slayers, and people that use power weapons. You could also have strategists. And we kind of develop those roles over time. So it's important to kind of establish where people are going to play. You want to specifically hone in on players' strengths, where you think there will be the most influential in a game, as opposed to putting them in a position that wouldn't be very good for them necessarily. So you kind of have to flip and flop for a while until you guys get that down. And the last thing is finding where these types of players are. Maybe that's the first, maybe that's the most important, but usually you kind of know in general. You can play some guys online and maybe you run into them. That's one place. There's also the specific games forums. So if you play Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike has forums. If you play Gears of War have forums, Call of Duty. So wherever the most players are is typically a good place to kind of, prod and see where, people are interested in competitive gaming. And then there's always sites like Game Battles, which a lot of console players use. So they find players there, compete there. So it's very easy to find people that are interested in competitive gaming and creating teams. So I hope that you guys found this information very important. I'll have lots more of content for you guys and helping you get involved in competitive gaming and understanding the ins and outs. Until the next time, guys, see ya.